Hey everybody, welcome again to Visible Kindness. This is Ed Squire. Of course you know who I am, but you don't know who my guest is, and that is Wendy Huffman. And I'm really glad to have her on the show today. It's going to be a powerful episode. She's an executive director and founder of the Brilliant Edge Agency, which is specializing in strategic talent acquisition and leadership development. I like that statement. It's not just, you're coaching people. Yeah, you got a serious business going. And you're also the founder of Let's Make a Difference, or Let's Make the Difference, I'm sorry. And it's a 501c3 nonprofit, and that's dedicated to leaders in underserved communities, providing access to empowering transformational and entrepreneurial education, aiming to level the playing field for all. I was so excited when you reached out to me, Wendy, because I jump on the internet, I'm looking at what you do, and I'm like, holy cow, this is incredible what you were doing. I'm going to just say a little bit more here about what you're doing. So you help companies build high performing teams, which is part of your, is that part of Let's Make a Difference?
No.
What is that a part of?
That's just my business that I just launching. Yeah, this is going to fund Let's Make the Difference in, some ways. But
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So
we're gonna talk about that. We're
yeah,
gonna
it's
talk about that.
placing. Yeah, it's placing. High profile positions. Doing some searching and finding people who might not be happy in their jobs, and giving them better opportunities. So.
Interesting. This is going to be interesting. So you have put so far, or the organization of Let's Make a Difference has put, there's probably more than 1,500 people now through the peace and conflict resolution campaign that you have. And I would love to hear what that's about. In column, you have to help me here. Columbai,
Kolobai.
Kolobai
Refugee settlement in Kenya.
in Kenya. And the other one is it Kakuma?
Kakuma.
Okay. And it's shifting the community there and making a difference. And it's, I have other friends that are doing this kind of work, and it blows my mind to see how you give what you do to help I mean, we don't get to choose where we're born. I think about that a lot. You don't get to choose where you're born. We can't look at ourselves like, you know what I mean? Like whatever, we could be anywhere. So why, I believe, I'm sure as you do, well, I know you do, that we should have something in us that wants to help other people, that we're just literally born into a situation that is difficult. So there's a lot I can talk about with just your introduction, with what you're doing. But why don't you take a few minutes, just tell us from your heart and your mind, what you're doing and what you're driving on, and just kind of lay the ground for us.
Okay, well, do you want to go into the history or just kind of
Yeah.
what we're doing now?
Yeah, so like I love hearing, like, how did you get to where you are? So a little bit of your background, right?
Okay.
And then get into the groove of what you're doing through the organizations that you're dealing with. So how did you get there? What brought you to this place? It gave you the passion to do it. Maybe a little bit of your upbringing, if you like. If not, that's fine. But you know what I mean? Like, give us a ladder that's taken us in that direction.
Okay, well, I I got married young, and was happily married for 25 of 30 years. In the last 5 years, we realized that we just wanted different things out of our lives. He was quite a bit older and was kind of winding things down. And I got married young, had a whole family. He had two kids that I raised. We had two kids together. And so it was like, oh, kids are grown and gone. Let's go see the world. And then there's this realization like, yeah, I don't want to do that. He didn't have any desire to travel. He felt very uncomfortable in strange situations, or I'm just like an adventure, adrenaline junkie. And so we came to the agreement to go our separate ways. We parted friends. And I moved to Los Angeles. It was in 2008 when everything crashed. We lost everything. Our home, the rental properties that we had
Oh my
amassed.
gosh, that was a crazy time. I was in real estate investment at the time, and it was everything we could do to get rid of the properties that we had, and we were lucky to get out and not lose.
Yeah, we just lost everything
Mm-mm-mm.
and then each other. And then we went our separate ways. He went to Paso Robles, California to live with the kids, live near the kids. And I moved to Los Angeles and I thought I'm going to pursue my dreams and see what I can do. And I'd never been on my own before. And it was it was a scary time. And I wanted to work in Hollywood. And so I thought, well, I've got to live in LA. So I moved there. I slept on my friend's couch till I got a job and which is it was just a couple weeks.
Well, what
And
would you do
then
in Hollywood? Like this is like coming from left field.
well, I was an interior designer for over 20 years. And so I did set design and art direction and that. And I ended up working in Hollywood for about 3 years. And then that was enough. I could check it off my bucket list. I thought this is really hard work for someone my age because, when you're an art director, you're the one schlepping the furniture around and everything. And I had grown kids, I wasn't a young one anymore. So anyway, but someone introduced me. I was kind of, after 30 years of being married, I was kind of like at a
Wow.
loss, like who am I? That I'm not his wife, I'm not their mom, on a day-to-day basis and just trying to find my own identity. And someone introduced me to Landmark Worldwide. And it was a landmark forum. You know, I wanted it. I wanted it. When they told me, this helps you take away all the barriers that hold you back. I'm like, sign me up. Where do I go? But we lost everything. I mean, I literally moved to LA with $400 in my pocket. And my car payment was behind, and I was stressed about, like being in LA without a car. I can't let that happen. Where am I going to get the next check? And the job that I took was commission, because they were assuring me that I would make plenty of money. They're in Topanga, as an interior designer. And it was just nobody was spending money on interior. In those years. So, my roommate was the one that introduced me to Landmark, and she said, if you really want to go, I'll let you go instead of paying rent this month, but you can't use it to make your car payment. But if you want to use it to invest in yourself, I'll let you do that. So
Wow.
I did, and it did change my life, and it helped me to create being unstoppable. Like it kind of just takes away all the artificial barriers you've created for yourself to protect yourself, right? And you can just like, okay, I think I can do anything. So anyway, about a year later, I met Bill online, and I didn't mean to drag this out so long. So
No,
we
that's right.
talked
This is good
about it,
because
right?
I have kindness questions going through my head for you. This is all good.
Okay, so anyway, I Bill was disabled and we talked on the phone for weeks, and I think he was really afraid to meet me because in the past anyone that met him was like, yeah, you're really nice, but yeah, no, I can't deal with it. And his story is a movie just on its own, because he had a medical malpractice where they severed his carotid
Oh
artery,
my
a
gosh.
tonsillectomy, and he'd had severe brain damage, so he had this thing going on with his arm. And I don't know. So we met at a Landmark event. I thought if he's into Landmark and likes this creation conversation, then let's see. And anyway, so we made it the center of our life for 10 years. So fast forward 10 years, I mean, we went to the seminars. We're always in a conversation. Where are we playing small? Where could we do more? 2013, we decided to sell everything and travel South America for 2 years. We lived in 7 countries. That was an extraordinary experience. I'm so glad we did.
Hmm.
And then my first husband got sick, had cancer. I came back to take care of him. Bill was like, I get it, your family needs you. And that's how generous he was. And then after my first husband died, we moved to Tennessee to take care of my mom, to be here for my mom because she was declining. And he was here and like, would you mind if I traveled? I'm like, no. So he would take off for a month, a couple of weeks and go places and come back and we'd talk every day on the phone and I get to live vicariously through him. Well, in 2019, my mom passed in tw December 2018, and it was like, do we want to stay here in Nashville? I'm like, I got such a great job. We got this great place to live. Yeah, let's just stay here. Well, then in February, I lost my job, and he's like, well, now what do we want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I think I want to take a course, self-development course, and, you know, discover who I am and what I want to do now that everything in my life has changed again. And he said, what would you think if I took a trip around Africa while you're doing this 7-month course? And I'm like, thank you. That's wonderful. Because I was going to be in Atlanta every week and I just felt so guilty, just leaving him here to wander the house. So he went to Africa and he was gone about 5 weeks. He found this school for street kids, for vulnerables, they call them. And he was mentoring the teachers there, and he was a great motivational speaker. And he did this one speech, set big goals and make the difference. And he asked me if I would help him raise money for the teachers, and I said yes. Well, a week later, he died of a stroke there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my gosh. I'm so
it was
sorry to hear that.
totally unexpected. And I flew over there and I thought, oh my gosh, like my life, like what happened to my life? And um, I met the teachers and I thought my last promise to him was that I would help them. And we had bought the domain names Let's Make the Difference back in 2010, but we kind of were like shy about starting anything because we had a pretty good life, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I was at the point where I needed it. And so I decided to send these 11 people who made such a difference for me and for Bill when he was there, the ones that he had touched, and then the people that had helped me. And I sent them, I raised $14,000 and 8 months later, sent them to South Africa to do the Landmark Forum to get that for themselves. And that was the beginning of Let's Make the Difference.
That is an incredible story. Not only for what came out of that, but through your relationship with your new husband, the things that you went through, and then going through South America, which is so great. And then running into let's make the difference. Isn't that the website? Let's make the difference. Or
Yeah, that's my nonprofit that I started.
okay, because I was like, I know I found that.
Yeah, let's make the difference.org. And so it's been almost 6 years. April 12th will be the 6 year angelversary, as I call it. And we've put about 268 people in 5 different self-development courses. 80 of them are women in the African Women's Leadership course out of the University of Zambia. And then I think about 160 in different landmark courses, some of them the same people, but we've sponsored seats in 168. But the biggest thing that has come out of that, when I realized back in September, the violence was so bad. We got into and it was all word of mouth. How it spread was all word of mouth. People here would say, I know people in Africa. And I'm like, okay, well, do you think they'd be interested in doing a course? Would you want to sponsor them? And so we can do all the logistics, and we need to get them computers and internet, or, find a community center for them to go to be together to take this course. And then we had managers to manage it, and it was amazing. And one of my best friends, Abe Rivers, he helped organize all that. He did the logistics. He was amazing. I called him my global transformation director or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, once we got into the refugee camps, and we got in there like from Google, found a computer center in a refugee camp, and we had people that went there to do the Landmark Forum, and we sponsored that gentleman too. His name's Honore Bengo, and he's been the most impactful person for me to meet there, and he's doing so many things for the refugees there. He's a refugee himself, and he wrote this peace and conflict resolution curriculum. He was teaching it before COVID, and then he lost funding. And the violence has been getting so bad with the new refugees that come down from Sudan. And there's just such a clash of culture and religion and tribalism, and it's like they're in confined spaces and they don't have a lot of food and everything is a challenge. And I said, what would they were on lockdown. And I was like, what would it take to sponsor that? So I said, we'll do that. So we had some people who supported, who said that they would support a few months of it. And we had a marketing person who said that he would help us. And so we launched and we did this 6-month peace campaign and we've put 1,800 people in it. And the
Well,
funds,
that sounds like a good number.
it's amazing since
Yeah.
September, like,
Yeah.
okay, the first 5 years, 268 people. And
Wow.
then since September, 1,800 people. And the difference is it's boots on the ground. All these leaders I invested all this training in, they're ready. They're ready to lead it. And then so to just turn them loose and let them share
Mm,
what they've learned. And I mean, it's been amazing. I've had
mm,
teachers from Kakuma and Calebeo get on the calls with us and say, please don't let this end. This has changed our
mm.
world. The impact. They were able to have a championship football game.
Oh.
The violence has been contained. It's like some estimates were like a 60% reduction in the violence. So much so that the camp manager has asked us if we would teach it to all the incoming people before they're integrated into the communities. And we want to do it. We want to expand. There's 3 other refugee camps around that we can expand to, but we need funding. And we're looking for either maybe a company would want to sponsor it, right?
Yeah.
Or individuals or just people who have a passion for it. But we really need some big numbers now. I'm thinking a corporation that wants to take a stand for peace.
When you
You
say
know,
big numbers, what kind of big numbers? Give us the
well,
numbers
like
because big means
50,000.
different to different people.
Yeah, 50,000. I mean, maybe that's not a lot to to a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
people.
why I'm asking because it could be
Yeah.
50, it could be 150, and
Yeah.
it makes a
Well,
difference on how
yeah.
who
Yeah,
you,
50.
the whole
Yeah,
project.
50,000 would get us to the end of the year and expand to a few other neighborhoods in Kakuma and Kilauea. And then we'll just see we've got 45 people in training now to lead the course so that we can expand. Now, Honore's had people, when the last time he taught it, actually go back to South Sudan and teach it there, if you can imagine the difference it could make if people got skills on negotiation and conflict resolution in war-torn countries. I mean,
Mm-mm-mm.
most of the violence is committed by youth because all they've seen is war. And to be able to have skills to learn how to be peace ambassadors. And these 1,800 people, when they're done with their course, they sign, they get a certificate that gives them, I'm a peace ambassador.
Mm.
Global Peace Ambassador, because a lot of them are going to be relocated. We take 40,000 refugees in the US every year from Africa.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
So
That's
potentially
a lot. I
we're
had no
invest
idea.
yeah,
Like,
we're investing in our future neighbors. You
yeah.
know, I actually drove to Cincinnati to meet the first one that had went through our programs and was relocated here. And he waited 14 years. He was 10 years old when he got to the
Wow.
refugee camp. Yeah.
I think we talked about this because we visited. I like connecting with new people that I don't know that want to come on the podcast and just getting to know them. So yeah, because it makes a better conversation. And yeah, I was just thinking about this project. It would be amazing to help you guys do that. In some way, because
I
it
would I
can't.
would love it. I would love it. Fundraising is not my strength. I love
Yeah.
public speaking. I'll speak anywhere. I'm accepting all opportunities, right, to share about it. But I need help with the fundraising.
And,
That's
I'm like, it's kind of like every skill set in my life. I'm not really anything, but I'm good at a whole bunch of things because I had to learn. So when I helped Jessica Lala, who has ALS, to raise money for what she needed 60,000, and because I had worked for Fortune 500 companies for it was over 10 years. Actually, my whole career was like that. It was like over, man, when you grow old, it's like I did this for decades, decades. But I learned a lot about business strategy and marketing and branding and all this stuff. And when Jessica needed money, I was like, let me see what you're doing. And she had a GoFundMe going. It was going for 6 months and it only had $2,500 and she was trying to raise 60 grand. And I was like, that is not going to work. You'll never get to 60 grand because I knew enough to know that when you launch a fundraising campaign, it needs to take off like in the first 2 weeks. It has to, and there's a methodology for doing that, and then you need to, like, instead of having a picture of whatever on GoFundMe, you need a 1 minute powerful video that will just, when people see that, they read the first line in the first paragraph, they're in. They will donate, and that's what happened for her. And I've helped other fundraising, same thing, projects across the line. So we should talk about it more. If I can do anything, I would love to do
I
it.
would love that. And I would love to introduce you to some of my leaders in Kakuma and Kelebai because no one is the same. Once you meet them, it changes your life forever. They are just that incredible. They are incredible human beings.
And this whole episode right now is just soaking in kindness, and there's so many levels of it here, and this is what this show is all about. So when I'm looking at South America, where are these places in South America, on the east or on the west or
Well, they're in Africa.
I'm sorry, not
Yeah, yeah.
South
South
America.
America
No,
is
I
where
meant
we travel.
I meant South Africa. I said South
Yeah,
America because you had a vacation there.
that's where we traveled.
And
Yeah,
I traveled through South America too, and it was great. It was really great. I meant South Africa. Where in South Africa are these places?
actually, they're in Kenya.
Okay,
The refugee camps are in Kenya.
got it.
We have other ones in Nigeria and in Uganda that have requested us to come in. But the camp manager in Kakuma, I believe it's Kakuma or Kelebai, they're right. They're, adjacent, has asked if we can do it for all the incomings. Can you imagine if we could set something like that up where, refugees with all the loss that they've had, if they can get some heart-to-heart training and knowing that people care
Yeah,
and giving
yeah.
them tools to heal, to forgive and to heal and to find, a peace so that they can also then offer that to someone else, you know?
I was just thinking, we were talking before we hit record that I'm like tomorrow I'm turning down an opportunity to go huge on social media and on television because I have to for personal reasons. But I'm just sitting here thinking, if I didn't say no, what I could do, I could help. But God's in control of things, for sure. Because my desire is to make a difference, and it's not to make money. I just don't care about it. And man, I can't wait to see what happens in the coming days. But I'm gonna have to say no to that. But I'm just thinking right now as you're talking, if I said yes, I like literally within a few months, it would be incredible. But one step at a time, one step at a time. So as I'm looking through Let's Make a Difference, it's a really nice website, and everybody needs to check it out. Let's make the difference.com. And I'll put all those
Dot
links and
org.
stuff.
Dot,
Dot, oh,
dot
dot org,
org.
of course, yeah. And I just love what I'm seeing. Your projects and causes. You got women's leadership, entrepreneurs, and microloans, and that's so important. You know, here we have mega loans.
Yeah.
Leadership and action. Just look at these people smiling. Sustainable farming, access to technology,
Yeah, we
women.
planted about 600 trees. We grew seedlings, about 600, and we planted about 100 of them and gave the rest to others to plant. And,
Wow.
we're just trying to make a desert home feel more hospitable to people. And it was a visible sign of people caring, And I think the biggest thing, refugees feel they're marginalized and they don't feel like
Yeah,
anybody cares about them. They've cut back their rations to 1,000 calories a day. And then with this US aid thing that just happened, now they told them if they have a job, they're not eligible anymore to get 1,000 calories a day for their families. It's like, like that.
that's an issue. I get
Yeah.
what they're doing. Like I
Mhm.
like the idea of getting rid of things that shouldn't be there, but there needs to be some more accuracy on keeping the things that should be there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I'm
just
with
like
you. I'm with you.
this is just me, but I'm with what's happening, but it's not perfect. I get that. It's
When the
good, but
dust
it's
settles,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
when the dust settles, we just have to hang in and see when the
Yes,
dust settles.
yes,
I believe there'll be some sanity and there'll
yes,
be like a real opportunity for people
yes.
really doing good things to
Yeah,
be able to show it. And then we can get some funding. But there's
I
a lot
agree.
of private organizations out there
Yes, I was just
money
going to
that are
say that.
stepping up. Yeah. So we have a grant writer, and he applies for about 10 grants a month is what I can pay him for. So that's just the second month.
Have you ever researched or looked for just private people that like to give to organizations like this? Have you ever done that? Oh, I'm going to say
I think
no.
I've started a few different times and I've reached out, just on Facebook or whatever and just tried to make a
What I mean is
connection.
there is a massive community of wealthy people that don't advertise. They're very private. But
Yeah.
when they see opportunities like this, they give.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can literally. I mean, this may sound silly, but it's not. You can literally Google, private fundraisers or people or millionaires that give to needy organizations, or just come up with the wording in that, and it's quite you'll see organizations that actually help connect you with these as well,
They
and those
usually
kinds.
want yeah, they usually want a fee or something up front, which I
Well,
don't,
then then take one step at a time,
yeah,
right? 'Cause if there's a fee, then okay, then let's take a look at that, and coming up with a fee is a lot less than having nothing, and just
yeah,
finding a way to get that fee going, and then connect with people like me and other people that can
exactly.
help on a smaller level for something that's big, and yeah. So there's different wealthy people that have different programs that they do this with, and it'd be worth looking into for sure.
Yeah, I think the whole problem is obscurity. It's like I need to um like I need to build up, my online presence so that people see and hear it, and that requires a lot of posting every day and stuff like that. And I do have some people now that are said that they are going to help with that, and I'm a Zoom eater. I'll do it for a while and then I don't do it. And I'm juggling a lot of plates, of course. So it's all about being consistent. I know that that's it. But the more podcasts I can get on like this, the more exposure that I can get, that's all going to help.
Well, I'm going to do what I can because my show is not huge, but I know that there's really good people that connect with this,
Awesome.
and I know in time it's going to grow and everything. I know that, um, and I don't add like marketing for every guest because I would go insane. But like with my last guest, I just had Tia. She's an amazing woman. She just is just. I love what she does. So I take the time to make some very good marketing clips that can be used on various platforms that can raise the viewers and bring them closer to what she's doing. And I'll absolutely do that for you too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and it would be yeah. There's other things we can talk about too because I like strategy and I like helping people. So we can do that. This is an amazing. I mean, this is really an amazing thing that you're doing, and I mean, I believe. I mean, for me, God is everything, everything. I have no problem with Him. I did most of my life, but I don't anymore. And I'm glad for that. And He can do anything, And He's when you put Him first. And so that's how I live my life. And I will be bringing this into my prayers on a regular basis.
Thank
And
you.
that is actually the most powerful thing that can be done because He can do anything. And he loves it when he's put first. I should have him on my show. Yeah, I probably can somehow, but it would be amazing.
I
Is there?
think I think people sharing about how he's worked in their life is the same thing, right?
Yes, yeah, and that's a big part of my life for sure. I can't not talk about it because of what has happened in my life in the last 18 months. It is absolutely incredible. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for every moment that I have. Literally, so all my attention, everything is given to what we're doing right now. And then when we hang up, and I'm alone, I've learned to really appreciate every breath that I have. I literally, I pray before I go to bed and I ask him for a good night's sleep. And then when I wake up, I thank him for waking me up. I never used to live like this. And it's the way I do. It's the way I do now. I'm just so grateful for every little thing. And he can do big things through little things. And he's in control of the politics and the leaders. I love that people are like, well, they think that, just like, God puts them in there. And this is my deal. We're kind of going off course here, but we are to pray for what God is doing. Because when you read through the Bible, there's all kinds of kings that were in that were like, not good. I'm not saying anything is not good. I'm just saying our responsibility is to pray because God is doing something through the people that He has put in leadership, and that's His job. And our job is to pray. Anyway, when I because we're coming at the end here. It'd be great to do this again. I would love to do it again, for sure.
Okay.
Because there's more I would love to ask you and have you talk about. But what I like to ask often, and you can relate this to anything personally to what you're doing, can be anything. But I like to ask my guests, and as I'm asking you the question, it's a long question, so you can think about it while I'm asking you. What is an act of kindness or some kind of kindness, whether it's for you personally, like it could be like I just said, I'm grateful for every moment that I have. That's a huge kindness way of life that I have to myself, because visible kindness is all about kindness to yourself and kindness to others. What can you share with us something that's either been with you recently or just that overall there's this kind of is in your life that you either do or you'd like to see done? You know what I'm saying? Bring something up here for us that where kindness is really important to you.
I think, well, and like what you do, Ed, it's like connecting people, I think is a huge kindness. Like sharing what other people are up to. I'm a connector. I love to like find out what people need and then try to connect them to somebody who provides that or somebody who's looking for something, provide, someone to who's that answer. And that's why I was really grateful to find recruiting because that's kind of what I've done my whole life is try to help. I have my life coaching certification, so that was in that little corner. And then I have an organizational change management degree, which is about helping corporations and companies get their culture, like straighten out their culture and to hear what's missing, or if they have churn in their employees, like there's a reason for it, and helping to find that. So, and then, when recruiting came along, I get to do what? I get to find people that aren't happy in their job and find them a job that they're gonna like. Like, I think I think that's perfect, but also that's kind of what I'm asking, and that's what you do is you find someone who's doing good and you share it, and then maybe then that will introduce someone who's looking for an opportunity to be philanthropic, oh, here's this cause. I believe in this cause. I think I always like to point this out, like in the United States, like 60 to 70% are on antidepressants, you know? And I think what's missing for them is fulfillment. And that doesn't come from looking in. It comes from looking out. And that gratitude that you're talking about is 100% accurate. It's like grateful here. What can I do to make a difference out there? And that's why when I found Let's Make the Difference was available, I was just like, I'm snagging that because it's the difference. It's like making the difference for someone. It doesn't have to be money. It can be just sharing what they're doing with somebody else who's looking for an opportunity to give back or to contribute. I'm looking for board members right now. So like maybe someone's like, I like what she's standing for. Especially people good at fundraising, you know? Those are the kind of board members I need, people who can actually introduce us to other people. We have big vision. We've got things slated. We have the women's division where we teach birth control with a bracelet, and that's coordinating.
You were telling me about that, and
Yes,
I forgot about it. This is
yes, and
an amazing thing. Yeah.
it's a nonprofit. They've been doing this in Haiti for 7, 8 years. They just opened in South America and I think in Bangladesh and Africa. But we want to train people to teach this. It's a little charm bracelet, 32 days, 32 beads. You move the charm to let you know when you're fertile. And
That is so great.
yeah, I mean, this could give women, talk about women's empowerment. If you don't understand how your body works and you're just constantly having kids, then, this is a real way to empower women. We also, Honore came up with an idea for feeding all these starving people with a bakery school. So
Oh
for
my gosh.
$10,000, we can open a school and make 2,000 loaves of bread a day. So for $1 million, we could feed 200,000 people a loaf of bread a day. And it's sustainable because half of that bread could be sold, to other businesses who could sell. He figured it would be a profitable, at least $350 a month profit. And that's a lot when you're,
Sure.
just
Yeah.
there, that could pay a loan. That could pay back a loan. So that's where we were looking at getting into micro lending. We only had one so far that has been we did a micro loan for someone starting a clothing business. But we would like to help people start these bakeries so that we could actually feed people, So
Wendy Huffman, I have enjoyed this episode big time, and I really appreciate everything that you're doing, and I like the answer you gave to my question because nobody just says, "Oh, I like to hold the door open for somebody," but there's always something that's deep inside them that comes out, which I love to hear. And your life is given over to kindness. That's exactly what has happened in your life, which is incredible. I love connecting with people like that. We'll have to definitely do some more talking. I would love to find out more about what you're doing, and I was looking forward to having you on the show. It was just I had no idea where it was going to go, but I just feel like we're on the tip of the iceberg with what you're doing, and I hope it raises awareness in other people's lives when it comes to just the blessings we have in Western civilization compared to what is what is in other countries. And we were born here. We didn't get chosen. We were born here. I
we didn't
suppose
do anything special to
no,
deserve it, you know?
no. And so we have the ability to help. And so that's what I love to live to do, and so do you. So I'm just so grateful that you came on this show. I'm glad we connected.
Thank you so much. It was such a gift to meet you and to have a conversation that we had the last time. It really did change my life in a lot of ways, given me confidence in a lot of areas where I was shrinking back. And that's like the question that Bill and I used to ask ourselves all the time. Where are we playing small? Where are we thinking small? What's hidden that I don't see, that where I'm playing small? And you really showed that to me, that the last conversation, like in my life, like I'm playing small in a lot of areas. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for helping with this podcast and getting the word out there. And yeah, let's do it again. I'm all for it.
We will. Thanks again, Wendy. Let's do it.